My brother calls me and he goes, "You can't come home. The cops are waiting for you." A day later, I was driving. As I come off the highway, there's a roadblock. I don't have my driver's license, stolen car. All I knew is I didn't want to go back to jail. And I had a gun in a bag sitting next to the car. So I pull out and the cop says license and registration. I pull over to the side as soon as he's turned his back, and I go to reach for the gun. You know, when I was 8, I grew up in a house where my mom was an alcoholic. My dad was in sales on the road 5 days a week. When I was 11, my mom called the police, and the police showed up, and I was in my room in a fit of rage, and she asked them to take me away, that she couldn't handle it anymore. And I remember the police escorted me out of the house. I got in the back of the cop car, and I woke up the next morning in a crisis center for the first time in my whole life outside of my home. Cruising down the highway, and all I figure is if I can get to the woods and run into the woods, I can make it, I can get away. And I'm coming around this neighborhood, and all of a sudden I see this house and the garage door is open, and I'm coming around the corner way too fast, try to make it in the garage door, smash into the side of the house, and I go to reach for the gun. So I knew I couldn't do it myself. I was going to pull the gun and let the cops do their job. And I'm sitting there and I'm pulling on the gun, pulling on the bag. It's stuck between the handle and it doesn't come out. And before I know it, the cops open the door. My feet don't even touch the ground. They throw me in the back of the cop car, and I wake up the next morning sober in a jail cell, realizing that somebody was looking out for me. I then got sentenced to adult facility for the severity of my crimes. And I'm talking about like real jail, not juvenile detention, cell blocks, jail. And I was sitting in this jail cell wondering, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Because I was trying to do better. And one day, this guard, Brian, opens the door. And Brian says, "Come with me." And we're walking down the hallway, and we go past the cell block, and there's this corner guard unit that actually looks over across the 2 cell blocks. And it's the first time I'd ever seen the inside. I'd been there for 3 months. I'd never seen the inside of this room where all the guards kind of hung out while they were looking over. And he sits me in the corner, and he looks at me, and he says, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Well, I stole a car and guns." And he goes, No. He goes, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I don't know." And Brian goes, "You don't belong here. I see the way you do your homework. I see how you're trying to stay out of trouble. And I want you to know, Dan, if you've never had anybody tell you this, that I believe in you." At 16 years old, that was the first time I ever had an adult look at me in the eyes and tell me that they believed in me and I didn't even see it myself. And he just kept going on about just the potential. And he's like, "You got to get out of here, man. You got to get to rehab. This doesn't make sense, Dan." And I committed to Brian that I was going to do everything I could. My life changed from that moment. I got out of rehab. I rebuilt the relationship with my family. And today I'm here to tell you that the reason I'm alive is because of Brian. We all have that power. And there's moments where you don't even realize, where you're sitting next to somebody and there's something you could say at the right time from the right place that's going to shift that person for the rest of your life, and you don't even know it. Brian had no clue the impact he had on me. There's moments throughout your day. You are the messenger, the person. Every day we sit next to somebody on a plane. We see somebody on the street we walk by. We see 2 kids fighting. And I'm telling you, have the opportunity to extend that belief in them and their humanity and who they are when it comes from their soul to change their life.